Hi, welcome to the video Java Filter in Spring Boot with me, Nam Haming from CodeJava.net. Through this video, I would like to share with you what is Java Filter and why using filter and how to code Java Filter in a Spring Boot project with some basics and how to exclude certain URLs from being processed by a filter and how to specify order of filters and how to configure filter registration and URL patterns. First, let's understand briefly what is filter in a Java web application. You see, when a client, a browser sends a request to the server on the server side, a Java servlet is responsible to process the request based on a given URL pattern. And after the request has been processed, the servlet sends a response to the client. This is a typical workflow in a Java web application. And a filter is the web component sitting between the client and the destination Java servlet. And there can be multiple filters sitting between the client and the destination Java servlets. And when a request is sent from the client to the destination servlet, it can go through a set of filters, and each filter can modify the request if needed. And before a response is sent to the client, the response can go through a set of filters, and each filter can modify the response if needed before the response reaches the client. So this is basic concept of filter in a Java web application, and a framework like Spring MVC depends on Java filter heavily to perform its work. And in Spring Security, it is implemented Spring Security filter chain. And we need to use filters when we want to intercept some URL patterns in order to modify the request and response. And when we want to run the same code that is executed for different URLs to avoid duplicate code. So in this video, I will focus on providing some code examples, creating Java filter in a Spring Boot application with this uses run the same code that is executed for different URLs. Let me demo a couple of Spring Boot applications so you can understand a common issue in Java web development and why Java filter can solve that problem. So in this IDE, I have two Java Spring Boot projects, ShopMe backend and ShopMe frontend here, and these two applications are running here. You see, and this is a user interface in Chrome browser. This is a ShopMe admin application, and this is a front-end application in the ShopMe. And you can see in the front-end application the side logo, the top menu items, the bottom menu items, and the site name are all configurable in the admin section here. In the settings section here, you see site name can be configured, logo can be configured, and the menu items here can be configured, change the title, change the position. That means for every request come to the application here, it will need to execute the code to load the application logo, the site name, the top menu items, the bottom menu items. Now let me show you. For example, I change the site name from ShopMe here to Me Shop. Click Save and refresh the front-end application, and you can see the site name gets changed dynamically here. Me Shop here, you see. And also I change the order of the menu items. For example, I want to move the career menu becomes the first menu item and move the uppermost menu item here to the last in the bottom. So here I use the admin to change the position of the menu items. Uppermost should be the last item. Uppermost here. Okay, and career menu item here should be the first. Okay, and update, refresh the front-end application, and you can see careers becomes the first menu item, and about us becomes the last menu item. That means the menu items, the logo, the sign name are dynamically updated for every request come to the application. And now I show you the related code in the project here in the Spring MVC controller class. In the handler method view homepage here, you can see the code that loads general settings to get the information about the site name and site logo, and the code that loads the header menu items and the footer menu items here in the homepage view, and also in another controller class, product controllers. In the view product detail page, you can see we also need to have the code that loads the zero setting and menu items, and also load currency settings, because this application can be configured for currency setting, as you can see here. Currency type, currency symbol, and let me open the category, and you can see the currency symbol is now dollar here, and dollar before the price. And now let me update the setting here to choose euro, and the symbol position is after the price. Save and refresh the category page. Here you can see the currency symbol is now at the end of the price, and you can see. So that's why we need the code to load the currency for the product detail page, and also in the view category page. Here you see we also need to have the code that loads the general settings and menu items and load currency settings here, and also in the search function here you see we need to load the general settings and menu items. So you can see general settings and menu items should be loaded for every request to the application, and currency settings is for only viewing products in a category and view a specific product here. You see. So you can see the code. This code is duplicated across multiple handler methods in a Spring MVC controller, and it also duplicated across multiple controllers in Spring Boot application. So to avoid this duplication, we can use Java filter, and I will show you how to use Java filter to avoid this duplicate code in the next few minutes. Now I'm going to show you how to create a first Java filter in the Spring Boot project. So I create a new Java package first, and create a new class that implements the Java filter interface here. common filter, and it should implement the interface filter in Java x.servlet here. And we need to annotate this filter class with the component annotation. So Spring Framework will load this filter automatically upon the application startup, and we need to implement the logic in the do filter method here. So we need to move the repeated code that loads the general settings and menu items here into this common filter. So I move this code into this do filter method here, and also copy the declaration of menu service and setting service here. We need to have the component annotation. So Spring Framework also inject instances of menu service C and setting service C here. And here we need to have an instance of HTTP servlet request as the argument to the business method. And in the do filter method, you can access the request, the response, and the filter chain. So the filter can modify the request or modify the response and continue the filter chain. That's it. So I move the repeated code into this filter. So in the controller class, I can delete the code. And in this product controller here, I delete this code, load the general settings and menu items. So I delete this method. So we see by using a filter, we can avoid many duplicate code because the same logic executed for different URLs can be implemented in a filter. Okay. Okay. And I write some message here in the do filter method, so we can recognize that this filter is executed. Common filter invoked. Okay, save the changes and wait for the application to restart. Also, so in the product controller, we don't need to use menu service instant anymore. Okay. Now refresh the front-end application, and we expect that it behave the same. We got an error here, a blank page, because in the common filter here, we need to continue the filter chain. So we call chain do filter or passing the request and response here. Okay, now refresh. And you can see we have the logo, the sign name, the menu items at the top, menu items at the bottom, same as before we creating the filter. But now we remove the duplicate code. So you can see it's very easy to create a Java filter in a Spring Boot application. Just create a new class that implements the filter. Filter is an interface defined by Java Servlet API here, and implement the logic in the doFilter method. Here, the logic is to load the general settings, load the header menu items, load the footer menu item, and finally continue processing the request normally by calling this statement change doFilter. And in the console view, you can see it prints common filter invoked here, and it seems that too many invocation of the doFilter method. Let me clear the console view, and now let me view the home page again. Yeah, and you can see there are many invocation of the doFilter method as it prints many statements common filter invoked here. Now let's figure out why. Okay, so I will print the request URL here to see all the request URLs intercepted by this filter. String URL equal to http request get request URL to string, and we append the URL here. Okay, clear the console view. Now refresh the home page, and you can see this filter intercepts all requests, including the request to the static resources, the images here. The invocation of this filter for static resource is unnecessarily because it will slow down the application. So we need to write some actual code here to exclude certain URLs from being processed by this doFilter method. Okay, so we need to add some extra code here. So we want to execute this code only for the main URLs, not for the URLs to the static resources like the image. These. Okay, so here we need to add a check if URL ends with not .png for the image, or it ends with .css for the CSS, or ends with .js for JavaScript here, not JS here. If the request contains the image CSS or JavaScript, so we continue the filter chain. We don't execute the logic in this filter and return from the method. So if a request for static resource like CSS or image here, this business logic won't be executed. Okay, save the change and test again. Refresh the home page, and you can see now the statement common filter invoked gets printed only once here, because the request for static resources have been excluded using this code. Similarly, I will create a second filter class that loads the settings for currency for the view category page and viewer specific product view category here, viewer product here. As you can see in the product controller class here, it has duplicate code for loading the load currency settings here. I delete this. No. As you can see, load currency settings here, load currency settings here, and when the application's code growing bigger and more complex, more controller classes added, and then you have to write this duplicate code. So that's why we need to use a filter. Okay. Now let me create the second filter class here. For example, the name is currency filter, currency setting filter, and annotate this class using the component annotation, and have it implement the filter interface in Java X.Servlet package here, and we need to override the do filter method here, and we copy the logic here, delete this method, and we got error here, delete. So you can see there are 3 handler methods that need to load the currency settings, and copy the setting service here. Here, paste into this new filter class. We need to copy the code for the HTTP request here, and we'll also copy the code that excludes certain static resources being processed by this filter here. So you can see we can avoid many duplicate code using Java filter. And here I print currency setting filter invoked followed by the URL. Okay. Okay, save all the changes. And now refresh the home page. We got blank page because I forgot to continue the filter chain after processing the logic here. Okay, no problem. Now refresh again. And you can see in the console view it prints common filter invoked first, and then currency setting filter invoked here for the same URL here. Now let's see the category desktops here. And you can see it also prints common filter invoked and currency setting filter invoked, and viewer specific product here. You can see it also prints common filter invoked and currency setting filter invoked here. If you don't want to have this duplicate code, you can create a separate class that acts as the superclass of this filter. As you can see, this code is duplicated across two filter classes here. So we can create a new class, for example, base filter. Make this class abstract, and it implements the method, for example, protected void exclude static resources for submit request here, request, and copy the logic here. Copy the logic URL here into this base filter. And we also need to have reference to filter chain here. And also the HTTP submit response. Submit response. Okay, so far so good. And okay. And then in this currency setting filter, we extend the base filter. Yeah. And then we can call super exclude static resources. Yeah. And for the print statement, we also move to the super method here. And here we cast the request object to type HTTP service request here. Okay, that's how to avoid duplicate code in filter classes. And we do the same for the common filter here. Extends base filter and call super here. It's better to have this method return the URL. URL here. No. Okay, here we print the class name. This get class get name plus invoked. Yeah. Okay. Save all the changes and test again. Now refresh the home page. You see it runs normally. And in the console view, you can see it prints the fully qualified name of the filter class, filter common filter invoked and currency setting filter invoked for this URL. And the same when we see a category here. Here you see, and we see a specific product here. You see, when we seeing a specific product, the each filter has been invoked twice. It's because there's static resources we have not excluded here. For example, CNS, PNG, JS. Let me view the page host. So you need to let me refresh specific product. Okay. Okay, no problem. So when you see it is invoked too many times, you can update the code to exclude the resources here in the base filter class. Now in the project we have two Java filter classes. As you can see, currency setting filter and common filter here. And now we need to specify the order of these two filters. So we can use the order annotation in Spring Framework here. You see, from Spring Framework core annotation here, and we can specify an integer number indicating the order of the filter. For example, I said this common filter has order 1 here, and the currency setting filter has the order 2 here. That means the common filter will be invoked before the currency setting filter. Now save the changes and test the filter order. Okay, you refresh the home page, and you can see it prints the currency setting filter first and then common filter. Sorry, I have not saved the changes for the common filter. Okay, refresh again, and you see now it prints common filter invoked first and then currency setting filter because the order of common filter the order is 1 here, which has higher priority than the order number 2 here. Now I change the order of the common filter to number 10, which is greater than number 2. So currency setting filter will be invoked first before the common filter. Now test the order of filters again. Refresh the home page. And you can see now the currency setting filter invoked before the common filter. So that's very easy to specify the order of filters in the Spring Boot application. Just use this annotation and specify an integer number indicate the order of the filter, and the higher of the number, the lower priority of the order the filter. As you have seen, a filter is applied for all requests coming to the application. As you can see, when I seeing the home page that doesn't have any price of the product here, but the currency setting filter is still invoked. So I don't want this setting filter invoked in the home page. So in Spring Boot, we need to code filter registration to apply a certain URL patterns for filter. So I create a new filter configuration class here, filter config, and annotate this class using the configuration. Okay, and we need to declare bin that in this method we return a bin of type filter registration. Here we use a filter registration bin provided by Spring framework here, and the type is a filter class, common filter. To register common filter to the application, register common filter. By registering a filter component like this, we can apply a certain URL patterns for this filter. So we create a new filter registration bin here, common filter bin equal new filter registration bin, and return the bin. And here we can configure bin set filter is a filter class, so we auto y the common filter here, auto y common filter here, pass the reference here, and then we can set the URL patterns, add URL patterns here. I want this common filter will be applied for every request coming to the application, so I use this URL pattern slash and asterisk, and I can also set the order, for example order number 1. And when registering a filter like this, it will override the order annotation in the filter class. So we should delete the order annotation in the filter class here. And do the same for registering the second filter, currency setting filter here. And delete the order annotation. And for the currency setting filter, we want this filter will be applied for only the URLs for the category page and for specific product page. Okay, so we declare second method that returns another filter registration bin here. So copy and paste. So we auto y an instance of currency setting filter here. Currency setting filter. Setting. And here the method name is register currency setting filter. Bin type is currency setting filter here. And here the important part is to specify the URL patterns here. Here I want to apply the currency setting filter for the URLs starting with /c here for category page, and starting with /b here for product page. Okay, so I specify the pattern here. For category page /c/ asterisk, and for specific product page /b/ asterisk. That's it. And specify the order is order number 2. Well, that means this currency setting filter will be executed before the common filter, which has the order 1 here. Okay, that's it. Save all the changes and ready to test again. So we see it is quite easy to create a Java filter and configure filter in a Spring Boot application. Okay, now I refresh the home page and I expect only the common filter is invoked. And you can see in the console view it prints only common filter invoked. And when I see a category of products here, the both two filters will be invoked. As you can see, common filter invoked and then currency setting filter invoked. And then when I see a specific product here, two filters will be applied, common filter and currency setting filter here. And when I see the content of menu item, for example, payments here, and only the common filter is invoked. Let me refresh. And you can see only the common filter is invoked because it is configured to be applied for all requests here, and whereas the currency setting filter is configured to be applied for only these patterns. So far, I have shared with you what is Java filter, why using filter, how to code Java filter in a Spring Boot project with some basics, how to exclude URLs, and how to order filters, and how to rest the filters and specify URL patterns. I hope you will find this video helpful. Please help me to grow this channel by clicking the subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video. Thanks for watching.